here. As you know, I'm going to put in some colors now. My favorite part. Give me a second here. Oh no, hold on. Give me a second. Yes, zigzaggy, that's a good word for it. So first of all, thanks very much. Thank you, Necessary Truth. I see that. So we're good to go. You're concerned about job A relative to job B, which is, well, we'll see what happens. Lorraine, I don't know if you are here tonight. I still owe you one. And Tina, of course, thank you very much. Earth, Earth. And Mr. Ross. Okay, I know you're concerned about the house and the state in general. So we'll get to that. Meanwhile, good evening and welcome everybody. This is Tarot Lumination. And now we go from here. I have learned over many years, more and more and more, that I have an uncanny knack of being almost oblivious of the future and not concerned too much about the past. Even though I am, okay? It's just something that I noticed. I realized that over the years, my natural state has been so conditioned to just be simply, purely in the moment that it's almost like there's nothing there. It's a strange feeling. Because yes, I do have history, and yes, I have mileage, and I get very sentimental at times, and I'm very prone to looking back over time, just like anyone else would, like with the Four of Cups, for example, just like, oh my gosh, coulda, woulda, shoulda, if only this and only that, then my life would be blah, 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 blah. Do you see where there's a problem? And the same thing, projecting into the future. Oh my God, look at the stock market. Oh my God, look at the politics. Oh my God, look at the climate change. Oh no, oh no, oh no, oh no, oh no. Some people aren't even mildly concerned about those things. It's like, so what? You know. You think about big corporations like airline companies and Amazons and these big hydroelectric companies and fuel companies and oil and gas companies. Yes, they are concerned about the environment and those kinds of things and the so-called future of the United States, but do you see any of them doing anything more than they absolutely have to deal with it? I don't. From what I can tell, the throttle is full on to the floor all the time with those people. You see this? See this? This is sunny Las Vegas at nighttime, okay? It's one of the most brilliantly illuminated cities in the whole of planet Earth when you just look at this part here. Of course, Manhattan is different, Shanghai, Singapore, and London and everything. But the concentration of light just in this area is mind-boggling. And the whole of this city lives in a kind of a basin. It's like a big sort of flat, shallow meadowland basin from about 120 years ago when people started moving here. And the whole place is surrounded by different mountain ranges. It's almost like wherever you look, from wherever you are in town, if you're in here, wherever you look, there's mountains here, 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 all around the outside. Another interesting, quirky thing about Las Vegas is that it's one of the fastest growing cities in America. And I find that very puzzling because it's also one of the fastest cities in America in terms of losing water. All the water for this city comes from like over the mountain over here in Lake Mead, and it's about 75% empty, and that water's never coming back. It's just going to keep going down and down and down. And at the same time, when you drive over around Las Vegas, there's new housing construction everywhere. New houses are just flying up like Lego, and people are moving here from all over the country. To me, it's a puzzle. Last week, let's see, what was it? In the middle of, about 10 days ago, 2 weeks ago, I was on a place called Washington Boulevard. So it was around here. I was just around this part here. And it was 121 degrees. That's killer heat. Of course, it's very dry here, so you might not notice it so much. I remember living in Cincinnati, Ohio, and it got to about 112 one day, but it had 95% humidity, and dozens and dozens and dozens of people died over a period of about 5 days. Also, up in Oregon, way up there, Oregon is like way up there. They're getting crazy heat stuff too that they're not used to. And a lot of places don't even have air conditioning because they don't even normally need it. And so when they had all that big heat shock about last week, hundreds of people were dying because their bodies can't handle it. There you go. All right, let's see. Hello. Tina, greetings. Hello, Queen of Water, down there in Melbourne, Australia. Hello, Ivona. Yes, it is the most zigzaggedy red chart in quite a while. Hello, Necessary Truth. I got your post-it note. Pallavi Sharma. India. Are you in India? No, wait a minute. Pakistan. India or Pakistan? Or maybe London. And let's see. I'm just popping through the chat really quickly, having a quick look here. Hello, Ivona. Hope all is well. Oh gosh. I don't know what to do from here, but I heard, Fritali, our dear friend Fritali. She's been a great contributor to the channel over the years, always a lively participant. She's one of those people who's born with a really powerful brain, and sometimes that's a bit of a curse. It's like having too much brain power in your neighborhood, in your society, in your church, in your family, in your school. And instead of everybody going, oh, Fritali, wow, well done, everyone else, it's almost like they try to take you down. From what I can understand right now, Fritali is in a lot of pain. I don't know how to help her at this point, but if anybody has any ideas, feel free to reach out. So, yes, Tina, I got the PayPal. Your magic post-it note is right here, ready and waiting for you. So don't you worry. Okay, let me go to the chart quickly over here. We made it, so we might as well do something with it. All right, so here we are today. It is 18th of July, 2021, Pacific Standard Time on planet Earth. Oof. You know, with my astrodoodles, I give myself quite a lot of freedom. I'm not a super hyper technical astrologer. There are astrologers out there who do everything in a very intense, super complicated academic kind of approach, which is kind of like trying to read Egyptian, or if you don't speak Egyptian, it's really difficult. I just try to dumb it all down. I'm not saying dumb it all. I try to keep it really simple and focus on really fundamental primary themes that most people can relate to. There's a lot of stuff that goes on in the Western astrology to do with asteroids and fixed stars and things like that. There are things like progressed charts for your solar progression, all sorts of things. And when you do deep diving in personal readings, we would dig deep into the North Node, for example, and the South Node, and we would look at other things like your part of fortune and your Chiron. But for today, this is just a generic chart for planet Earth. Hello. Oh, Gregory, I see your note there. Basically, from what I can tell, Fritterly is in a lot of pain from being trapped in a very kind of dysfunctional family type of situation. I'm sorry, Fritterly, if you're watching this, but that's the feeling that I get. And it's very, very, it feels to me like you have the sort of pain that someone would have as if you are full of life and love and energy and well-meaning, and yet you have been hogtied into a chair using Ziplocs. And these are psychological, emotional ties that bind very, very tightly. And the more you try to, break free, the tighter the binding gets. And so it's extremely painful. Necessary Truth, is she open? I'm sure she would open to us reaching out, but I don't know what to do or how to do it. It's actually kind of beyond me at the moment. It's literally, I am at a point where I don't know how to help. And if somebody wants to extend themselves in some way, that might help. In some ways, maybe one of the most helpful things might be to have a kind of an open conversation with anybody where Fritterly could literally just kind of vent so she doesn't feel alone or forgotten, or that no one can hear her or see her or anything. Again, it's kind of a curse being like very intelligent and yet being in a family dynamic situation that's, from my perspective, it seems very dysfunctional, and that's just makes it worse. So it's like Fritterly is very trapped right now. If anybody wants to connect with me, you can reach me at alittlebookabout@yahoo.com if you've got any ideas about how to help Fritterly. It's really serious, okay? Serious, it's bad. It's really bad. I don't know if Fritterly's here. I didn't see her on the chat yet, but she might show up. She's been a very active supporter for years now. We have kind of like a little family here, like a little Terra Lumination love tribe. And we've built this over the years. I guarantee if I ever did manage to get my property together and have enough money to have a retreat somewhere, we would all, we all arrived in person, including if Abby Cicerelli. Sometimes Abby's out there. Sometimes she watches without joining the chat, but Abby was very, let's say, fundamental to keeping my channel alive in the early days. She was a real trooper, and she has a very busy, active life. She's a very active energy healer. But anyway, let's have a look at this. So here we are today. Necessary Truth, please send her my cell. Okay, I will do that. I'm going to make a note of that here. Fritterly. I'm just going to do this right now. Fritterly. TL. Please send Fritterly cell number for Necessary Truth. Okay, we'll take care of that, all right? I'm going to put this aside. We'll take care of that later, okay? Thanks, Necessary. So what I was trying to get at over here is that I've been noticing in my own personal life that a lot of my awareness and learning and understanding and appreciation and experience in day-to-day life at the moment is very deeply connected with relationship dynamics. The relationship with my brother, relationship with my buddies in Los Angeles, relationship with the new city of Las Vegas and where I'm living, relationship with the people on the channel, okay? And when you look at the chart, There's a lot of oppositional energy here. I'm being loose with it, okay? But Taurus opposes Scorpio. Aquarius opposes Leo. Capricorn opposes Cancer. So we have a lot of polarity here. Cancer-Capricorn axis. Taurus-Scorpio axis. Aquarius-Leo axis. And it's all active right now. So you might feel as though you're being pulled in many different directions in terms of relationship dynamics. And in the experience, you would be learning more and more and more about yourself. And whoever it is or whatever it is would be learning more and more about themselves. Because in these types of aspects here, there's nowhere to hide. This would be like when you have an opposition like this, it's the equivalent of something along the marriage axis, or the self and the other, the first house and the seventh house, where there is nowhere to hide. Okay? When you have a trined relationship, like Aries Sun with a Leo Sun, it's typically very comfortable. In fact, it can be so comfortable that either party could find ways to manipulate and maneuver and stealthily get around each other in ways that might not be healthy, and yet make it still look as though everything's rosy and peachy and wonderful. In these kind of oppositions, there's nowhere to hide. If you are fully observable by the other, and the other party is fully observable by you. It's just like having a mirror right in front of you where you can't escape. Anyway, let me read Tina's notes here. She says, we went on a search looking for a body that they thought was a suicide. We found a body. This guy was murdered. They tried to cover him up with a tarp and put rocks around the tarp. Whoa. Jeepers, you're already working with her? Wow, that's amazing. Go, Ava. Go, Ava. Fantastic. I mean, it's kind of gruesome, the subject matter, but just imagine the closure. Just imagine this guy, maybe this person, this body, whoever it was. That person, that guy has family. Friends, associates, or something. And obviously some enemies too. But it's a really horrible feeling if somebody crosses over without any kind of explanation or understanding. Especially a suicide. It's very, very difficult on the people who are left behind here on Earth. Greetings, Heather. How are you up there in Vancouver and British Columbia? Oh, you went with your team. Ava is just learning. Okay, well, that's great. It must have been a lot. I mean, it sounds gruesome, but it must have been a lot of fun. Okay, let me get on with the notes here. So, today, right now, at this moment in time, we have the moon moving very quickly through Scorpio, opposing Uranus and Taurus. So the whole axis of Taurus-Scorpio is lit up just for a short period of time. I'm not showing it here, but Taurus and Uranus and Taurus is still in a very deep tension with Saturn in Aquarius. So there's still a tremendous amount of upheaval and shock going on with planet Earth right now. That's everything to do with floods, earthquakes, volcanoes, tornadoes, droughts, fires, storms, desertification, and overwhelming flooding. All these kind of bizarre, freakish, unpredictable things are happening. And also simultaneously with the global financial system. The global financial system is being shaken up. Like literally shaken up, okay? And it is for our best good in the end, okay? We are going through like an evolutionary vortex right now over these few years, especially because of this piece of sacred geometry here, as Pluto grinds its way slowly over the next few years from Pluto in Capricorn over to Pluto in Aquarius. Okay, we've talked about this many times, but none of us have ever lived through anything like this before. So this is monumental. It is historical. The nearest thing that we can compare is to July 4th, 1776, about 250 years ago. And then for the next 20 years or so after that, up until about 1797, there was massive revolution and chaos all over the United States, all over Western Europe. And we're headed for that right now. Whether you notice it or not, it's happening, okay? Anyway, with all these polarities, like, okay, for example, here's the Capricorn Cancer polarity. Anyone with very prominent Cancer Capricorn themes in their chart is going to feel this. The United States is very lit up right now because of the Capricorn Cancer axis, because the United States is born with a very prominent Cancer Capricorn axis along this very line. And this is going to be with us for the next 3 years, okay? And every time the Sun, Moon, Mercury, Venus, Mars moves through Cancer, we're going to get a jolt. This one is happening right now, okay? I don't know if any of you have noticed, but the United States is in deep, deep trouble. I could be in deep trouble for talking about it on this channel. But it's all to do with basically an upheaval, radical, revolutionary upheavals that are happening in this country, where you could say these patriotic, constitutional types of Americans are starting to get sick of the people who are trying to destroy the United States Constitution and our Declaration of Independence. So there's this tremendous push-pull axis going on here. Basically, Americans versus Americans. Literally, Americans versus Americans. The Taurus-Scorpio axis, I think it's very much to do with global finance, but especially American finance. And the Leo-Aquarius axis over here also pertains to the United States, because the United States has a Leo North Node. Let's put it like this. I'm going to kind of do it like this, just to make it look like a compass north, okay? So, the United States has a Leo North Node opposite an Aquarius Moon South Node, okay? And right now, today, we have kind of a double duty yod, a double duty finger of God. This is like a kind of awkward, unavoidable pressure point that basically forces everyone and anything to consider this aspect of themselves wherever this lies in your chart. In other words, the mid to upper degrees of Leo in your chart. And that could be anywhere, depending on your sun, moon, rising, ascendant, and so on. It doesn't necessarily mean you have to be a Leo sun, a Leo moon, a Leo rising. Somewhere in your chart, you will have Leo in the mid 20 degrees mark. So what's happening with the yod puts a lot of pressure for all of us on planet Earth to step up and make our best efforts to be the best shining example of the highest qualities of Leo energy. That would include things like courage, leadership, generosity, kindness, benevolence and light, and power sharing with others. In other words, sharing your light, your brilliance, your talents, your gifts with the rest of the world. So not so that you can become a raging narcissist, but so that the rest of the world over here in the South Node energy has the chance to enjoy the light and abundance and the fun and the courage and the heroic leadership that Leo can offer. So basically, and that can happen anywhere in your chart. So if, for example, you are a Libra rising or a Libra moon or a Libra sun, you would be looking to how you could express your Leo sector here to the best of your abilities. Be a real shining light in your community so that everyone else gets to benefit from your shining light. Not that you can benefit from everyone else in the community adoring and worshiping you and treating you like some kind of like guru savior. It's just the opposite. You're giving your energy totally for the benefit of the community. That's just one example. It could be anywhere, okay? Depending on who you are. If anybody wants a heavy-duty, in-depth, personal, private reading about these things, we can do that. You just go to terralumination.com and you can figure it out from there. So, pretty much everyone here has already bought a little reading in advance before we even started the show. If there's anyone out there... Hold on, Gregory's got some notes. Okay. Just sent her an email. Okay. Tina Miller says, they didn't know if it was the guy we were looking for. Oh my God, so Tina, you might have found the dead body and it might not even be what you're looking for. Oh, jeepers, man. Okay. So, Gregory, is that where Leo is in one's natal chart? It could be anywhere. Okay, Gregory, this Leo aspect here, basically Leo in around the 20 degree mark, everyone has that degree in their chart somewhere. You might not have a sun, moon, Mercury, or any planets there, but for sure, somewhere in your chart, there will be the degree of Leo 23 degrees, something like that. Okay? And in that case, that's where this storyline, this energy would apply to you, the individual. Like I said, it could be anywhere. Okay? It could be absolutely anywhere, but the energy is still the same. It's the question is, how does it manifest for you, the individual? Anyway, I thought I would mention that. So, another thing that I'm noticing about the chart is that things are, kind of spread out at the moment. Apart from these conjunctions over here with Venus and Mars, a lot of things are kind of spread out right now, which gives each planet a chance to express itself without too much interference from the other planet. Okay, so, hey Gregory, let me explain a little bit better. For example, let's say you are an Aries sun sign, and we do an Aries solar chart for you. Then your Leo section would be over here in the 5th house Leo. If, for example, you are, let's say, a Sagittarius sun, and we do a solar chart. No, let's say you are Sagittarius rising. Let's say your ascendant is in Sagittarius. Then what I'm doing here is I'm putting Sagittarius on what's called the horizon. Okay, this is the flat horizon. This would be the 1st house. This would be the 7th house. So, in this situation, anybody with a strong Sagittarius rising sun or moon would have their Leo sector somewhere up here near the very top, probably in the 9th house, okay? And that's where the Leo energy would want to be expressed. If you're, let's say, I don't know, like a... I don't know, Cancer rising. Okay, let's just do it like that. Cancer ascendant. Or moon, or sun. But let's do Cancer ascendant. If you were a Cancer ascendant, then we put Cancer on the horizon, the 0 point. And then the second house over here is Leo. Third house over here is Virgo. So for example, for the Cancerian rising sign, there would be a very strong emphasis in their second house of money, value, values, stuff, the world, your talents and your gifts and your resources. And how are you, dear Cancerian types, how are you making the very, very, very best of your natural gifts and resources, not for your own aggrandizement, but for how you can contribute to society, and so on and so on. So for a Scorpio, for example, let's put a Scorpio sun, let's put Scorpio rising sun kind of thing over here. So for Scorpios, I'm doing like what would look like a solar chart, not a natal chart, a solar chart. And in this case, you can see that the moon is crossing your first house right now, and Uranus is bobbing around for the next few years in Taurus in your 7th house of marriage or fundamental one-on-one partnership or open enemies. Okay, so that would be the Scorpio-Taurus axis. But for you, this Leo sector is appearing up here in the 10th house, which would be to do with your, let's see, hold on. Sorry, it was slipping everywhere. I'm losing it. For the Scorpio types of people, this Leo pressure would be up here in your 10th house of destiny, career, your position in society, your measure of success in the way other people see you in society. And it's amplified by Venus in Leo, which is very supportive, and Mars in Leo, which is very supportive. So it could indicate that for Scorpio types, they might be feeling a very strong pressure to be successful in an outward manner. In other words, like having all the symbols and characteristics of success and doing it with love and kindness and activity and let's say ambition and drive, but not for the self-fulfilling career ambitions of the Scorpio self, but more in order to become the best, most courageous, strong, inspiring leadership kind of person for the community. Because not everybody has, this placement. Anyway, it's unique for all of us, but if anybody wants to go deep into it, we can do that, but that's have to be a private reading. There's a very awkward thing going on right now. I should have marked that, actually. Give me a second here. Pluto is retrograde, Saturn. Saturn and Uranus. Saturn, Uranus. Where am I? Give me a second. Let me get my ephemeris. I had a brain fog. Jupiter and Saturn, both retrograde. I thought so, right? Okay. So right now, for example, in terms of sacred geometry, Pluto, Saturn, Jupiter, and Uranus are all retrograde. So from planet Earth, it looks like they're going backwards in their orbit. Of course, they're not actually going backwards. It's just a perception from planet Earth because we are not the center of our solar system, but we measure our astrology as if we are the center of our solar system. So everything gets a bit lopsided because actually the sun is the center of our solar system. And there are no retrogrades when all the planets are observed to orbit around the sun. But when we observe from Earth, we get these bizarre phenomena called retrogrades. And when these retrograde patterns occur, there's always a kind of pressure that forces us as the individual, as the community, as humanity, to revise, review, repair, revisit, everything by going kind of backwards in time, re-examining everything that coulda, woulda, shoulda worked better, everything that that went wrong. And we have to figure out, how does it go wrong? Why does it go wrong? When does it go wrong? Where does it go wrong? Who does it go wrong with? Who, what, when, why? Who, what, when, why, where, and how does it go wrong? 6 very, very, very important questions that need to be addressed all day, every day when we're dealing with all these retrogrades. Basically examining our lives, taking full responsibility and ownership for where we are today, and making sure we take time out to re-examine where we are in history for ourselves as individuals and for ourselves as a species here on planet Earth. Where was it? Yeah. Jupiter, Saturn, Neptune, and Pluto. Sorry. Excuse me. I got it all screwed up. Let me get my ephemeris again. Jupiter, Saturn, Neptune, and Pluto. Jupiter, Saturn, Neptune, and Pluto. So, in fact, this is not retrograde. Pardon me. I knew there was something wrong. I know. I was doing that all wrong. Pardon me. But anyway, what happens for myself is that I look at this as like, I mean, I know there are astrologers who are far more advanced than I am, and they do everything from a very elaborate scientific, academic perspective. And that's great. They can talk about the sextiles and the trines and the conjunctions and the hoochama-flits all day, every day. But what does that actually mean for you, the person living your life on planet Earth? That's where I'm interested. Hey, Fritterly. Hey, Fritterly. Well, we're just doing the, looking at the astrodoodle for the day. And remember, folks, this too shall change. Tomorrow, this will be a different astrodoodle. This will be mostly the same. Here, 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 and here. But the Sun, Moon, Mercury, Venus, and Mars will change quickly. Okay? So, Fritterly. Hey, Fritterly. I'm glad you showed up because I was mentioning earlier to everybody that as far as I could tell, I heard that you're having a really, really hard time right now. And I don't know how I can help, honestly. I'm thousands of miles away, and what can I can do all the remote healing in the world, and I can wish you all the best. But it seems like what would help now is like maybe getting some kind of feedback or reflection from people who actually care. So. Fritterly, just so that you know, Necessary Truth has offered to have a talk with you. And so if you want to write in, if you can do that, or I can do this with Necessary, it's to get Necessary's cell phone number over to you, Fritterly, so that you guys can talk, okay? This will be off the record, off the books, or whatever. But sometimes just talking is just really, really helpful, you know, especially with someone who has, such capabilities as necessary truth. Okay. Well, I see your notes there, Fruitily. That's great, but it's great to know that people care. But it also really helps to have some practical, let's say, solutions. Like, okay, so it's great. Let you know how I talk about it. You got to reveal it to heal it. So let's say you go through the revealing process with somebody, or necessary, or whatever. So then, okay, so you get to this point. Okay, well, what are we going to do now? Now that can be a lot trickier, because when love is as love does, so that's love in action. Sometimes that's extremely uncomfortable. It's one thing to talk about it, but to actually do it, being loving, being loved, sometimes it's really, really hard. It's really inconvenient. It's really stressful. It means completely setting aside your own egoic personal agenda and sublimating that in order to extend love above and beyond your comfort zone to someone who actually needs it. Now, obviously, anyone who extends their love to another through action, as in love is as love does, you don't want to do that to depletion, because then you become useless like a dead battery. You know, that's not healthy. It's very, very important for people. Anyone who is essentially, let's say, incarnated in this lifetime as some kind of spiritual, karmic, energy healer, caregiver, or something, even though you might not be an official doctor or an official chiropractor or a herbalist or a surgeon, you can still be a healer at the soul. So if you're one of those, sometimes it's a very challenging life, because many times there's not a lot of reason or reward that goes with it, but the rewards come later. Anyway, if that's what's happening, like for Fritzli, for example, yes, it can be it can provide extreme relief when you get a kind of a chance to like vent and just clear. It's like popping a zit. You know, zits are horrible. Or anything to do with pain and suffering. You've got to reveal it to heal it. You can't cure your spinal issues unless you talk about them with a doctor, or get help, or admit or talk to yourself, I have severe spinal issues. Or whether it's addiction issues or relationship issues. You have to reveal it to heal it. That's the only way. Anyway. Okay, there's Fertility getting into the physical facts and realities. It's garbage nights and recycle night, and you may have to help her into bed. So that takes time and energy. And you're doing that out of, I guess you could say, the kindness of your heart. Anyway, so Frittily, yes, Tina, you can. We can do that. Yeah. I see what you're saying there. Yeah. I'm up for that. But that'll be it. I don't know if... Hold on, let me go back over here. Go back. So let's get on with it, people. We've talked a little bit about today's Astrodoodle. Like I said, if anyone out there, if you're watching, like... Who was that earlier? Hold on. Where is that? Give me a second. Who is that? There was somebody called... Pallavi Sharma. So Pallavi, if you've never been here before, for example, if you wanted a reading... You want to get into it, you can go to terralumination.com. Okay? So, over here, this is terralumination.com. So if anybody wants to put money into the donation, you can just go to terralumination.com and find the donate page. And we can already see that Tina Miller has already used the super chat to donate some money for a mini reading for Fritterly. So that's pretty cool. If somebody wants a heavy-duty, private, one-on-one personal reading, again, go to terralumination.com, but go to the readings page, okay? And you can figure it out from there. Basically, we do very deep dive in meetings through my Terra Lumination Pro Zoom account, okay? So that's how that works. All right. Hey, Fritterly. It's good to talk about these things. I'm glad you've got some time and a bit of space to even get on your phone or laptop or whatever it is so that you can hang out with us for a few minutes. So if you've got to go and take care of your mom or whatever, do so. You'll get your reading anyway, and you can get it later. But if you're around while you get your reading, that's cool too. Yeah. Go Ava. Go Fritterly. Go Tina. Anyway. Thank you, Tina. I love doing these things. Alright, let's have a look. So, let's just get started over here. Now, let's just put this aside for now. We could just go on and on about this, but let's just put it aside. Cheers, everybody. Thank you again for joining me on a Sunday evening. The way my life is right now is nothing like what it was a few years ago when Terra Lumination was in the early days before it got destroyed. And we were putting out, 30, 40 videos a month. And all sorts of things were happening. Now I'm down to one show a week. And every week goes by and I keep thinking, oh, I should go online. I should do another show. I should do another show. But I never get there. So I just say to myself, well, this is how it is. Everything is exactly as it should be. I know that if I try to force things, there tends to be kind of a kickback. So I'm at a point in life where I have become so, let's say, liquid, fluid, open to the healing power of now that even though I'm naturally very sentimental, and I would dwell on the past, but I also have a very futuristic part to my nature. I don't spend huge amounts of time and energy in those areas. I just allow those energies to operate in the now, in this very narrow moment where we are right now. Because this is where your power lies. All your power lies in the now. I might not be like the next Jeff Bezos from Amazon, where all your power is expressed in a very obvious, open way across planet Earth and America. But what I do here and what you guys do in your world, it's our own little private thing, and it has just as much validity as anything to do with, all these space rocket boys who are going up into outer space with their big jet rocket toys. Our lives are just as valid, just as important. Yeah. Okay, I'm just sorry, I just caught something off the chat there. Anyway, so Gregory, I noticed earlier you put some notes in your email about your mom's house. So there was something about your mom's house, and then being in Mississippi in general. Mississippi in general. Is that correct, or is it Missouri? I can't remember. Honestly, I'm sorry. I'm just going to check something. Give me a second, Gregory. I just want to triple check something. Okay, so I've got it right. Well, let's just dive in. Let's keep it really simple. You know? All right, here. Hold on. There's a lot of you know, I've been doing this tarot illumination thing for about, 4 years now? A little over 4 years. But, hey, Karen over there. Hello, New Zealand. I've kind of got used to my little Sunday night gatherings. But it's actually very technical, very complex to do my show the way I do it. There's a lot of softwares and technology and all that stuff. And I've had to do a lot of learning. And sometimes I forget the wonders of the technology. So I just want to say how grateful I am to all the people who invented things like the computers, the wires, the microphones, the technology, who wrote the code for the software, the platforms, the electricity, the lighting, the microphones, the multiple services that I'm using to create the show, all of it. It's just mind-boggling to me. I take it all for granted, just like you guys take your smartphones for granted. That's just how it is now, you know? 200 years ago, there was a time when there was no indoor plumbing, really, for anybody. It's mind-boggling what has happened with humanity in the last 200 years. It is just staggering. I wish I could share a video with you in public without being flagged or my channel shut down. But I tried that once before and I was flagged and I was shut down. But there, anyway. So Gregory, let's get to this. Hello. Right, just want to make a note. There's Karen Clark over there in the North Island on New Zealand. Ivona is over here. Necessary Truth is over here. Tina is over here. Gregory is over here and over here. Love Triber is over here. Tarot Illumination is over here. And where is she? Where is she? The girl who showed up earlier. Oh, I can't remember. Oh, there's Queen Pallavi Sharma. I'm guessing Pallavi Sharma is somewhere over there in Pakistan or India. And I had a message from Lena today. Lena from Argentina is over here. And I said Karen's from over there. And Queen of Water is over there in Melbourne. So we have quite a broad selection here tonight. I don't know if there's anyone from Europe or England here tonight, but sometimes we get folks across the Atlantic. Yeah. I love that feeling. I absolutely love that feeling that we're connecting with each other all over the world, live at this very moment in time. It literally blows my mind. I just love it. I just love it. I'm so grateful. All right. So, you know what? Before I do anything else, I want to put a post-it note up for Tilly. Tina, we're going to read for you after Gregory. Lorraine, are you here tonight? Because I still owe you one. Okay? Necessary Truth is over there. Questions about job A versus job B. And then Frittily gets her own reading thanks to the kindness of others. Thank you very, very much. Now, with tarot illumination, we never know what's going to come up on these readings, but that's kind of the fun of it. So we'll see what happens. All right, cheers, everyone. Okay, let's get on with the show. All right, Gregory. So, it's amazing, Tina, when you think about it, isn't it? Sorry, Gregory. Give me a second. I just had a feeling like, hey, Robin. It's amazing what people do with their time and their day and their sense of purpose and how they can be of service to humanity. Look at Tina. It's a very specific pathway, choices that lead to where she is right now with Eva, and specifically working as a cadaver dog rather than trailing. And it's just connecting the dots. It's amazing. All right. Bless his deck, bless every single card. Bless everybody here tonight. Thank you for being here and helping to support the channel. Bless all the technology, the computers, the hardware, the software, the computer codes, the wires, the electricity, the lighting, the staging, the safety, the security, the internet, all of it that makes this possible. It's amazing. Okay, Gregory. Let's have a look. Do you mind me asking, Gregory, are you in Santa Fe right now or over in Mississippi? Anyway, I'll keep going anyway. Here's the situation. Here's the challenges. Here's how we're going to handle it. Let's do this in kind of little chunks, all right? The way I'm thinking, give me a second, Gregory, because I want to go back to the Astrodoodle. All right. There's so many polarities going on right now. So many oppositions. Capricorn, Cancer, Taurus, Scorpio, Leo, Aquarius. And all the retrogrades. Jupiter, Saturn, Neptune, and Pluto. So that's very deep diving. The energy of dealing with these retrogrades would not be happening in a very conscious way. Mercury retrograde is hard enough for most people. But all the planets go retrograde at some point. Not the moon, not the sun, but the other orbiting planets. So right now, this is a time of contemplation. This is a time of evaluating, reviewing, revising, like scrolling back through history, experiences, vital information. It's kind of like archaeology. We're digging so deep that it is very similar to archaeology. And it's like, I'm not an archaeologist, but, archaeologists dig in certain places for certain reasons because they have a little bit of prior knowledge that leads them to be in a certain place at the right time for the right reason, okay? And then they end up either with a discovery or not. Sometimes they make unexpected discoveries while they're doing archaeology for something else. But right now, what this feels like to me is that we're on a kind of delicate, awkward, archaeological dig. If you can imagine your mom's house, if you can imagine the state of Mississippi, okay, those are the physical items and those are the physical locations. Now, if you can imagine yourself, Gregory, as the archaeologist, and you are driven by nature to find out and discover what is really going on with your mom's house and Mississippi. How is this relevant to you? What does this look like? What's the story? How's that going to unfold? Obviously, this relates to the past, some way, shape, or form. So with those 4 big retrogrades happening right now, it would make sense to examine these issues right now. However, what I'd like to add is that these retrogrades are big and long and slow. So my feeling is not to expect an immediate answer or solution or outcome based on your personal, private expectations at this moment in time. In other words, what would make you most happy right now if you could just go and get everything to line up the way you would want it to work for you? Please set that agenda aside, because it's much healthier just to deal with the facts. Okay? So that's what an archaeologist would do. They would basically mark out the territory, and they would take out their tools and they would start digging. They have certain hopes and expectations. They have prior knowledge. They have understandings of where things are going, but they can only deal with three-dimensional physical reality in the here and now. Okay? All right. First of all, before I go any further, now that we've opened the door to the first reading, I'm topping up my beverage. Okay? Now another thing, I'm using this archaeology theme because the Capricorn energy and the Taurus energy is very strong. The Taurus energy is conflicted by the Saturn and Aquarius energy. So that's kind of awkward here. But the Capricorn energy is comfortable and supportive with the Pisces, the Neptune, okay? And it's very comfortable with the Piscean energy. So, alright, let's have a look. This is the weather, okay? This is not yours. This is about sacred geometry. So we have the Ace of Wands. Okay, so this feels to me like a green light to go. It's like by, again, using the analogy of archaeology, then you are absolutely in the right place at the right time for the right reasons, with the right people, for the right, whatever you want, purpose, intentions, or whatever. But it's very harmonious. So don't be scared by all this red ink, okay? Because, yeah, it's very, very challenging, but we can learn so much from these polarities and these oppositions with people, places, things, contracts, objectives, everything that is not you. So with the Ace of Wands surrounding you here, over here, like a backup energy, like a weather, it's almost like perfect conditions and circumstances for you to do the deep diving archaeological work that needs to be done right now. However, with those 4 huge retrogrades, that doesn't mean there's going to be an immediate answer or resolution about what to do right now. For example, as you dig deeper into your situation, no matter how much you know right now about your world, your family, your mom's house, the state of Mississippi, all the interactions that have led you to be at this very point in time right now, there is still more to be unraveled, uncovered, and discovered before making any profound, irreversible decisions about property or state. Okay? Here's the situation. So you've got an 8 of Cups here. So my feeling is that I'm going to give you my honest feelings, my straight up gut feeling right from the get-go, because we have worked together before. Now, I'm not stating this as fact. This is more like a feeling. It's a very powerful emotional current here with the 8 of Cups. To me, it would feel like there's this powerful spiritual awareness that in some ways the best thing to do is give up and walk away. Even if it means, like for example, buying your mom's house and then selling it in order to get out and clear. And then leave history into the history books, so that everything is left behind, filed away, and basically put into deep storage in the land of stories, memories, dreams, nostalgia, and history. That's what I'm sensing here. The moon is in Scorpio right now. And the moon in Scorpio, it tends to be very kind of intense and penetrating, almost psychic. So, okay? So, this might not feel good to you, but it feels like it's a strong message here that, cyclical events in history, sometimes they stop, they change, things happen over time. If you look at the history of the United States, the little bits that I know about it, things happen and then they reach a crescendo and then they change and something else happens. The big thing that we're talking about on this channel is 1776 revisited and the new Pluto return coming up in 2023. However, our understanding of all of this comes from looking back at the history of the United States over the last 250 years. So I'm drawing a kind of a parallel between what's happening with the United States and what's happening with you personally, Gregory, in that you might realize that things are changing and shifting and forever, and no matter how much attachment you might feel to the state and to the home, life and history still moves on. What's the problem here? Especially if you're deeply spiritually wedded to your mom's house and to Mississippi. What's the problem here? Okay. With the Magician, my feeling is that the problem is, it's like this feeling, like sometimes we are so consumed by our own wishes and desires and expectations that we would like to work to unfold in such a way that works to satisfy our egos. In other words, I wish I could solve all the problems so that this, and this all work out in a way that is just and honest and fair and makes sense to me right now. And then everyone else will have to figure out what that means for them. But the way I see that with the Magician here in this very challenging position, it makes me feel like for you, Gregory, there's a kind of a deep fear that's associated with your mom's house in the state of Mississippi. It's like twofold. In other words, damned if I do, damned if I don't. Let's say you make a powerful, committed decision to buy your mom's house and keep a foothold in Mississippi. Are you cursing yourself to the point where you ultimately disempower yourself and you blow the fuses on your magic? And then flip it around. What happens if you, Gregory, make a decision, you know what? This is history. It's done. It's over. Life is moving on. Let's buy mom's house and sell it, wrap it up, cash out, move on, say goodbye to Mississippi forever, move on. That's all the past, okay? Let's say you go that way. That could also make you feel as though like, oh my God, I'm giving up all my power, all my strength, all my magic, all my light. So it's like being stuck. It's like feeling like I'm damned if I take action, buy the house, stay in Mississippi, sell the house, cash out. I'm damned if I don't. In other words, if you just let things sit and stagnate, you're condemning yourself. If you take action and you decide to, like, what do they call it? Consolidate or wrap up the family affairs and just cash out, sell out, and move on and start a new life. What are you giving up? What are you losing? Yes, there's a tremendous sentimental attachment. So it feels to me like you're torn, like you're being really torn between the options here. Am I in? Am I out? If I stay in, I'm setting myself up for a lot of problems. If I stay out, I'm setting myself up for a lot of problems. But those problems on this side or that side are mostly just potential, because you don't really know. The way I'm looking at this is that it looks like new starts, new beginnings, new life, new sense of courage, activity, confidence moving forward by releasing the past and accepting a very, very painful process of having to let go of anything and everything that connects you to the past, which would equal Mississippi and the family home, your mom's home. So in other words, your mom's home could have great sentimental value and financial value, and Mississippi the same, but at the same time, they could be like shackles around your neck, around your ankles. Personally, I see a clear storyline here, but it's heavily questioned by the ego. How do we deal with this? Okay, the obvious answer here is just to cut your losses, get out and run. Knowing that by cutting your losses, it's not the end of the world. It's just basically like, well, I'm cashing out and grab what I can and move on and accept the fragility and tragedy and sadness of bygone relationships, and that's the end of it. But if you notice, they are very much in motion. Life is moving forward, and there's still plenty of value here. But this is like a phase. The Five of Pentacles feels to me like it's a phase. And the phase is basically accepting, like, damned if I do, damned if I don't. In other words, if you are determined to, like, impose your will or make yourself known and claim your rights to your space and your property in that state, in some ways, you're shackling yourself. If you decide to, let's say, release yourself from the material shackles of the house and the state, you are releasing yourself, cashing out, cutting the losses, and moving on. And in so doing, liberating yourself. It's not an easy path. Please do not make any irreversible decisions based on this reading. I feel that this reading is very much about bringing light to the situation where you realize that, my God, this could go either way. What really, really counts here is new starts and new beginnings and a new sense of excitement and vitality in life. And that might come at a great sacrifice to your sentimental attachment to expectations about coulda, woulda, shoulda, if only, if only, if only, if only, based on the past. And yes, it might feel very, let's say, shameful or tragic or regretful that having to give up and walk away might feel to your ego like it's like, I've lost, I've failed, I've lost all my power, I'm a complete loser. That would be at the egoic level. But in balancing things out, it's sort of like what they do in Wall Street trading. Sometimes they make really good wins, sometimes they make really bad trades, sometimes they make a kind of a middle of the road trade where they realize like things aren't so bad, but if I don't cash out now, I could lose everything. Or things are really good, I better cash out now before I lose everything. Okay, so did you hear that very last thing that I was talking about with this last card? It might help to rewind that again. I can't remember exactly what I said, but I felt it very, very, very strongly. Something to do with cashing out. Please, 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 just rewind that. It would only take 30 seconds or so, okay? I hope that makes sense, Gregory. So do not make any decisions right now. This reading is much more about coming to the full understanding of what your ultimate decisions are going to look like when they come to you eventually, okay? This card is very, very important in the reading. So just rewind that little bit again, okay? Think of the retrogrades. Go over that last little part. When I pulled up this card at the end of the reading, play that part over again a couple of times. And that's really the essence of the reading, okay? Cheers, Gregory. I hope that helps. Hello, Radha. Radha, greetings. Oh my God, I wonder, have you been here before? I can't remember. Honestly, Radha, I can't remember. Hey, Gregory, thank you so much. I hope that helps, all right? Tina, you're up next. So, Radha, yes, you may be, I can handle another reading, okay? We've got Tina, then Necessary Truth, then Frittily. I can probably handle one more reading, okay? It doesn't look like Lorraine is here tonight, so I'm just going to put this aside. So I've got a space here. Radha, Let me just speak. Give me a second. I just want to check in here. Hello, Radha. I don't know where you are or where you're coming from on planet Earth, but yeah, we could. Oh, Toronto. Okay, so just a couple hours difference. Yeah, you're welcome. So Radha, in order to participate, it's by donation. There's different ways. Number one, if you have your own PayPal account, you can send like $10, $15, $20 or something over here to the Terra Lumination email, okay? It says, a little book about at yahoo.com. That's English. I only know how to speak English. You can send a PayPal donation to a littlebookabout.com. Another way you can do it is you can go on your phone or something, or a laptop or tablet, and you can go to terralumination.com, find the donate page, find the donate button. It pulls up a payment processor. You enter your card information. It's just like, buying something on Amazon or Etsy or eBay or something, Walmart or whatever online. And then you do it that way. And there's another way you can do it, which is by, what is it? Hold on. Yeah, there's another way you can do it. It's by Super Chat. Super Chat is the YouTube mechanism, or you can do it through YouTube. So where you're looking, hey Radha, Terra Lumination is over here in Las Vegas. This is Las Vegas at nighttime from outer space. Okay, that's where Terra Lumination is broadcasting right now. So, Radha, if you want to book a little mini reading live tonight, right now, with the rest of us, you just put a donation in. So, you can go to terralumination.com, the donation page. You can, if you have your own PayPal, you can send it to the email address I just showed you. Or you can go to the Super Chat. So, if you look where you're typing in on your chat, there's a little button. It's like this big, okay? And it looks like a $ inside a gray box. If you click that button, it pulls up a payment processor, and it's just like swiping a debit card or credit card. 10, 15, 20 bucks is what people typically put in. So we'll keep an eye out for that. If you just want to hang out, that's cool too, no worries. All right, so Tina, you're up. Thanks, Radha, for dropping by. Yeah, I've been doing these Sunday night live readings for quite a few, about 3 or 4 years now. It's like this little thing that we all do. Some folks come here regularly. Some people drop in from out of the blue. However you want to do it. So Radha, in case you didn't know, I used to have a very active channel, and I would put up 30, 40 videos a month, all about love, relationships, spiritual journeys, karma, and then stories about the world's dynamics and politics and economics, and then the live readings on Sundays. But right now, this is all I can do at the moment. I'm sorry, I wish I could do more, but this is it for now. Some people do this show they watch it on their phone or their tablet, or they listen to it while they're driving, or sometimes they, settle down in a sofa and they watch it on a computer. There was a lady here called Gabby Girl. She was very active for a few years. She was a lot of fun, and she used to watch it on her big screen TV. You can do that if you have a smartphone. There's a way that you can connect your phone to your big, widescreen digital LED television. Excuse me, don't look at those. I don't do jumpers. I'm just going to shuffle them back in the deck, okay? Hello, Toronto. All right, Tina, here we go. Let's have a look. I'm doing quite an extreme cut because I want the deck to be really clear and pure between each reading. All right, Tina, here's the situation. Here's the challenges. Here's how we're going to handle it. Let's have a look at the weather for you. Again, sacred geometry. I'm looking at the astrodoodle, the chart, as a pervasive energy for the whole world, but how does that relate to you personally? Okay, so we have the Two of Wands here. So this is kind of exciting because it's like opening the door to potential, opening the door to possibilities, opening the door to the future, looking around the world and the universe and starting to plot out a pathway. And there you have a lot of options open to you. Obviously, you have certain fixed, let's say, aspects of your life right now, like your location where you live, your situation with friends and family, your new situation with Ava, the cadaver dog. All these things combine like in this kind of swirling, it's like cooking a stew. Like, you know, things are just simmering, like, wow, how is this going to look like down the road? Where are we heading here? So it already sounds, Tina, that because you've shared with us your stories very vividly, you're already, I mean, there was a point where you did not have Ava. A few weeks later, you've got Ava. A few weeks later, you're already out doing training with Ava. So it's obviously very active. But with this, with the Two of Wands, to me it feels like there's a big, there's a big question mark. Now the question mark is not to do with doubt. It's just to do with curiosity and dealing with options. Like, what is the future going to look like? You have to understand that every time you take action, you are planting seeds. So it's very important to understand that. Like, you want to make sure that you are planting seeds in fertile ground. You want to make sure that you are investing your lifetime energy in ways that are satisfying, rewarding, and that come back to you, and that it feeds on itself like a self-fulfilling generator. You're already there, okay, Tina? So it's already happening because you're already in the flow. But I think what's happening with the Two of Wands, we're just getting a reminder that you're still in this like generator phase where it's like fermenting homemade beer or something. Like, it's turning to something. You already know the outcome. You know it's going to be good. You know you've got this thing going with Ava, the cadaver dog, and you've already started training and experience. But this is a long-term thing. And, you know, I don't have a full crystal ball here, but it is going to lead you in a certain direction. And right now it feels to me that, like, you're already, like, focused and you've got your compass. Your life compass is already starting to get set and focused in a certain direction. And now what we're talking about here is kind of like the fine-tuning of things, realizing like, okay, I am on path. I can see and sense a pathway opening up in front of me. But what does that look like step by step? Because it's still very new, okay? Remember the other reading we just had with Gregory. He had an Ace of Wands. This is the card after the Ace of Wands. So it's still very raw, new energy. It's like, Ace of Wands has already moved ahead. New starts, new beginnings, exciting, inspiring, encouraging, satisfying, fun, and inspiring to others. And you're already on to the next phase. Well, oh my gosh, it's already happening. So where's this going to go now? Whoa. Okay, let's have a look. What's the situation? Hold on, what's that? Okay, I need to be in better condition. The heat got to me. The heat. Are you talking about the heat over in Houston? Well, I've been to Houston. I know it can get very hot and it can get very humid simultaneously. It's very different here in Las Vegas. It can get extremely hot, world record breaking hot, but there's no humidity. Okay, there's no water here. Anyway, let's have a look at the situation itself. Okay, so to me, I'm just going to give you my very deepest first impressions. It just kind of went click. With the Strength card is like, oh my gosh, like you really, really have set yourself on a new life path here. And it's starting to manifest, and it's already generating its own momentum. I know this is a lion, okay? But just bear with me, okay, Tina? Just imagine that this energy here is Ava. And it's the energy of a very strong spirit. Every time we've done a reading and it involves Ava, her energy comes through very, very strongly. It's like she knows she has a mission and a purpose for being here on planet Earth. But what I'm sensing is like, can you see this? I mean, I'm really like over reading it in terms of tarot, but it really, really looks like a very powerful illustration between yourself and Ava, where you are here to help and guide Ava to fulfilling her mission, okay? And simultaneously, Ava is here to help you fulfill your mission. It's mutually beneficial relationship. I can guarantee no one has ever interpreted the Strength card that way before, but that is exactly what is happening here. And it's a very strong energy. I think that Ava chose you because she knew that you were probably the only one who would be able to handle her. Ava needs a handler who is very compassionate, very selfless, caring, and loving, and also very strong. Ava will not function well with a weak or mediocre handler. So you're in this together, okay? Now what's the problem here? Okay, with the Two of Swords, to me it feels like the problem here is that this is such a fierce energy in a good way that it might make you feel at the level of your ego, Tina, it might make you feel as though, like, wait a minute, who's the boss here? Is Ava the boss of me, or am I the boss of Ava? Okay? Tina, you already know that Ava's energy is very strong. And she has to be with someone who will match her. Okay? And so you end up in this energy of polarity. Okay? I'm going to go back to the astrodoodles here. Okay? Multiple polarities. Capricorn, Cancer, Taurus, Scorpio, Leo, Aquarius. It's all happening simultaneously. Why did I put that thing in here? I screwed up this thing like I did the last time. You see this red line here? It actually should be from Saturn. Please forgive me, everybody. Okay. I am not Leonardo da Vinci. This is literally just a Tarot Lumination astrodoodle. Maybe one day it'll end up on the NFT Hall of Fame somewhere as the astrodoodle that almost made it. And it'll be worth a fortune because of its flawed nature. But anyway, Aquarius, Leo, Capricorn, Cancer, Taurus, Scorpio. The energy of open dynamics in relationships. So with the Two of Swords here, it makes me feel, like I said earlier, it's really simple, like who's the boss, or like making decisions. When it comes to making decisions about literally every day going forward, it's almost like, Tina, you might feel as though you're going to have to run every decision through the context of your relationship with Ava. And at the same time, Ava's life is going to unfold as if she is having to make every decision through you. Now, obviously, you are the human being and you are kind of the boss of the relationship, but you also know that Ava has this very strong energy. So it's like you are equals. In three-dimensional reality, you are the human, you are the handler. But Ava is very strong, and she depends on you to be a very strong handler. So that's going to constantly put you in a position of like, oh my God, like where am I being pulled? Where am I being pulled? In other words, for your own peace of mind and living your life the way it would unfold for the Tina Miller perfect agenda, you might want it to go that way. On the other hand, according to the will of heaven and this, let's say, sacred relationship here, it might take you in this direction. So it might feel to you like this never-ending, like ebb and flow between ego and soul, self and selfless, self and selfless. Very difficult to handle, but you can do it. There's no question about it. So you might question yourself like, oh my God, what did I do? What was I thinking? Why did I ever take on this whole mission with me and Ava? Oh my God, what have I done? On the other hand, it could be so rewarding and so satisfying for you and for Ava and for other people. The other people who benefit from your relationship with Ava, for example. I don't know how this is going to turn out. Who knows how this is going to unfold over the months and years. But it is very much an ebb and flow thing. Balance of power. So how are you going to deal with that? Okay, so with the Page of Pentacles, to me it looks like it's very, very, very simple. You just live extremely tightly and purely in the moment, physical reality, like, oh, what time is it right now? Oh, when am I supposed to be at that meeting with Ava and myself? I don't want to get there too early. I don't want to get there late. Oh my God, physical day-to-day realities. So is everything organized properly? Is my schedule organized properly? Are my finances organized properly? Are all the, let's say, the material physical elements of my life organized properly? Like, have I got enough gasoline in the car? Have I got enough food in the pantry? Am I going to be able to get enough sleep and rest after a day's work with Ava? To me, it feels like with the Page of Pentacles, it's really about taking everything down into a very, very simple physical reality in the moment, in the now. Literally, it's almost like living your life minute by minute, second by second, and constantly checking in with yourself. Checking in with yourself and Ava and the world around you, friends and family, and whatever commitments you undertake with Ava herself. It's all about what I would call energy management. Okay? So the way forward here, in other words, in order to deal with the push and pull of what would be happening to you at the heart, soul level, the spirit level, and the way life unfolds between yourself and friends and family and Ava, and the mission of Ava, and the mission that you've taken upon yourself with Ava. When I look at the Page of Pentacles as how to handle it, it's literally like being very deeply conscious of the three-dimensional world. In other words, what time is it right now? How long is it going to take me to get to the location where we have to do the work? How long is it going to take me to get back? Do I have to do any chores on the way back? Am I letting anybody down by dedicating 3 days of work with Ava? Am I going to let down friends and family? What happens if there's nothing to do for 3 or 5 days or a week with Ava? How am I going to deal with Ava if she's so used and so desirous of being so intensely committed to her mission and path? How am I going to deal with her energy when there's actually really nothing much for her to do? All these kinds of things, little tiny materialistic, physical details of your day-to-day reality, they have to be dealt with in the moment from a very loving, deeply spiritual, committed perspective. I know you can handle it, but I think this reading is just a kind of like a heads up. It's like a serious heads up about how to deal with things as they unfold. The Page of Pentacles is basically, it's almost like resigning yourself to the mission, like, well, okay, this is how it is. I'm in Houston. It gets hot. It gets steamy. I've got Ava. I've got friends and family. I've got this and that going on. This is my physical 3D reality. I'm Tina Miller, and that's Ava. And so, what's happening now? Literally, what now? What now? What now? What now? And then just filtering it through your spiritual, like, shopping list. It's just like lists. Lists are very, very useful for dealing with things like in a very pragmatic manner. Page of Pentacles. You don't know all the answers. So what you do is you deal with everything moment by moment by moment. Okay? Like being a good energy manager, having a good grip on energy management. Like, I'm Tina, I'm tired, I need a rest. I'm no use to anybody if I don't get a nap. I'm Tina, I have to take care of meals, friends, family, blah, blah, blah. And I'll get to you, Ava, later, okay? So it's very, 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 very practical stuff, okay? I hope that helps you, Tina. It's about staying deeply present, deeply immersed in the physical three-dimensional reality of the now. You just have to trust and understand and believe that the mission and the love and the spirit energy will be moving through you in the now. So your responsibility would be to pay very close to time, energy, resources in the now. And that's how you deal with the bigger picture. You don't have to spend a lot of time and energy like, oh, what's going on? I better get another reading from TL or... No, it's just literally details. Like having a schedule, having a calendar, all those mechanistic kinds of things. Okay? I hope that helps, Tina. Thank you very much. Hey, Path, what's going on? Nice to see you. Hello, Sarah. I see you there. Thank you very much. Next up, we have Necessary Truth. Necessary Truth is in between. Okay? Necessary Truth is looking for some insight regarding Job A compared to Job B. Apparently they are both appealing in their own way. So that is a very, you could say, what's that expression? Like it's a nice problem, you know. Luckily to even have choices at all. Song time. Oh, I wish I could play you my song called The Perfect Time. I really do. I love that little song. But I'm in a situation in life right now where I have to accept the fact that it costs a lot of money for me to produce the music that I used to. Some of it I used to be able to do on my own, but these days I don't have the technical skills. I was always kind of spoiled when I was a kid. I was one of those. I use the surround yourself with talent method of success. So I have all this music bubbling up inside me. Even now, in my later years, some of you know that I was really active in like pop music and rock music when I was a kid. And I still have a lot of music in me. And I would love to be able to go to studios and producers and do it, but I can't do it on my own. I'm very, very good at working with producers and other musicians, but these days it just costs a lot of money. So I've had to kind of set all that stuff aside. Let me think of a song because I care. Okay, Necessary Truth wants the beat. So, okay, I'll play that song. It's a long song. It's a few minutes. And I actually wrote it for my mom when she was passing away. And it's called Because I Care. So it's actually kind of like two songs in one. The first part is kind of like a slow, old 1970s Elton John ballad. And then I thought, no, let's rip it up, man. Let's have some fun. My mother, I guarantee my mother, well, I know for a fact because I was there at her funeral ceremony and so on. She was determined to go out smiling and laughing in a party. And that's what happened. I had a very powerful psychic experience with my mom at that time. And she was having a blast, even though she had already passed on. So I will play. Let me see if I can find it. Hold on. It's called Because I Care. Let's see if it comes up. Where is it? Ah, here it is. There it is. Okay. So it's the same song twice. One is a ballad, once is like a get up and let's have some fun. Okay? Where is it?
Let's dissolve our pain and get out of danger. Heal all the wounds and cure all the anger. I'll be the doctor, you be the patient. Here is your medicine, I'll help you take it. No, it doesn't kill you, it makes you stronger. It wipes out the fear and makes you live longer. It's not a lotion, it's no magic potion. It's just a dose of love in the moment. I'll watch you while you're lying there, while your eyes are closed and your heart is bare. Perfectly still, but still aware. And I'm right here because I care, because I cure. Just watch this. No more weeping, no more sadness. Gone is the fighting, gone is the madness. We can choose to become alive, or just disappear, or become survivors. I'll watch you while you're lying there, while your eyes are closed and your heart is bare. Perfectly still, but still aware. And I'm right here because I care, because I care.
We're not gonna let you go down in flames. No, no, no. We're gonna have fun. We're gonna do this right. Whoa. We haven't done that in a while. Thank you. Thank you, Necessary Truth. Hold on, I gotta shut down some of the music softwares right now so I can see what the heck I'm doing. Alright, so here we are back at the stage over at Terra Lumination, Sunday night, 18th of July 2021, Pacific Standard Time. Necessary Truth is up. Hold on, I see some notes. Atlanta, Georgia. Oh, you've been here before. Thank you, Pat. That's a good point. Hold on. Okay. Oh, wait a minute. There's more people. There's Bella Malvasia and there's Atlanta, Georgia. Whoa. Oh, well, interesting. So, yeah, I guess, okay. Calling in John. Calling in John. We're getting serious, people. Alright. Not that Chris is not serious. It's just that John is more serious. Alright, so, yeah, let me just go over here a second. Oh. Oh, hold on. Ha Madeline, that's my mom's name. Necessary, you must have remembered that. How funny. Yeah, so anyway, yeah. So anyway, Necessary Truth asked me if I could play that song because I care. I wrote it for my mom. Her name is Madeline. She passed on a few years ago. She was just like one of these supercharged people. Nothing could get her down. Absolutely nothing. She was fearsome, a warrior, fighter, mother, wife, all of these things. And I did what I could to be there for her. Thank you, Necessary. So, while we were doing that song, it looks like we had a couple of new arrivals. Atlanta, Georgia. I know you've been here before. I recognize that name. There is a list. I could probably handle one or two more, but it means we're going to be here for quite a long time. I've got to read for Necessary. We're going to read for Fritily. So Atlanta, if you get one, that'll be you too. And then there was someone else who just showed up apparently. Let's have a look. Who was that? Someone else. Bella. Wait a minute. I know I saw. What's this about Bella? And then Radha showed up. Hold on a minute. Well, give me a second. I'm just checking. Oh, there. Okay. Bella Malvagia. Yeah. So, Bella, this is the Terra Lumination Sunday Night Live mini readings, live by donation. So, if you want to do something live in person and you don't mind having your reading in front of an audience, then yeah, you can do that. You can do the super chat, which you can do directly below where you type. There's a box, there's a button. It's a gray box with a $sign. You click that, it brings up the payment processor. You swipe your debit, credit card, whatever, 10, 15, 20 bucks, whatever. That's what most people seem to put in. Then, if that doesn't work for you, you can try this one. Like if you have PayPal already, you can send a PayPal to my email here, alittleBookAbout@yahoo.com, or you can go here, terraillumination.com, click the donate page, and that'll take you to another place where you can put the donation. So that's basically how it works, okay? So we'll keep an eye out. That information applies to Bella and to Atlanta, Georgia, and to Rada. I saw your names, Bella, Atlanta, and Rada. So if you want something, I could probably handle one more. We'll see how that goes. Anyway, in the meantime, we're going to read for necessary truth, okay? Let's have a look. Okay, over here. I've got to put this aside. Hold on, give me a second, folks. Stay right there. All right. It's just there's a little technical issue over here, folks. It's don't worry. We will deal with this as we go along. All right, let's get realistic. Let me get back. Let me get centered here. Hello, necessary truth. You just said, that's funny, there's no such thing as death. In a way, it's actually true. We have this thing that we call death here on earth because it's like, we sprout like a little plant. We live our life, and then we fizzle out, and we're gone. But our souls live on. That is for sure. I guarantee that. Okay, now let's see, what else are we... Okay, so I think I've said what I had to say. Necessary, you're up. Then it's Frittily, and then I don't know if Lorraine's going to show up. We don't know. But we've also talked about Rada, Atlanta, and Bella. So if the three of you, if any one of you want a mini reading live, it is by donation, and I explain the different ways you can donate. Okay? If not this week, maybe next week, or if it's too private, too personal, then you can. I guess you could, if you really wanted to, you could come over here and go to the Tarot Lumination readings page, and then you buy a full-blown reading, and that's completely 100% private, and we can deal with anything, okay? Like some people, it's one thing to do a little mini reading live on YouTube, but it's a very different thing to do a full-blown reading in private. So it's up to you. All right, necessary. Regarding John, we're asking for John's input here. John is already here. We just got a nudge. Okay, necessary truth. John is already here. Basically indicating in a very mellow kind of professional manner, like, I'm ready to go whenever you are. Okay? Very simple. Very, 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 let's say, down to earth. Let's put it that way. How else can I put it? I got to keep shuffling because I didn't really do that properly earlier. And then we can get on with your reading itself, okay? Thank you, necessary, for extending yourself to Frittily. We'll sort that out. Actually, I have to put a note now that I think about that. Give me a second. Actually, I've already written the note. I've already got the note here on the side. So, yeah. All right, we'll sort this out. I have to keep shuffling. Excuse me. Here we go. So we're dealing with this job situation, job A versus job B, both having appealing characteristics. Let's cut it up. I'm doing a very extreme cut because I want a very clear reading. Okay, here we go. Here's the situation. Here's the challenges. Here's how we're going to handle it. Let's have a look at the weather. Again, I guess you could say I always, to be honest, I always filter this through the sacred geometry, whatever's happening in the planets right now. But then I give myself permission to interpret that however I feel. So, we have the Nine of Cups. Okay, so there is a very strong message here that it's really, really important that whichever one you choose, it makes you feel really happy inside, to the point where you get this almost like a giddy feeling of like, oh my God, wow, I really am in a position where I can tap into my independence and I can generate my own happiness. In other words, necessary, sorry, hold on. Sorry. You know how, sorry, excuse me. So many job situations where there's an employer and an employee, or a business or a corporation or an infrastructure that has its own culture. And in order to be happy, the people who hire you are trying to figure out like, are we going to be happy having you in our team? We'll see. But when I see the Nine of Cups, to me it's like it feels it's inverted. It's just like, pretend you, necessary truth, you are the boss of you, and what really counts is like, without having to rub it in anyone's face or anything, but it's really about like, pretend I'm now necessary truth, okay? I'm necessary truth. And I'm meeting with these people, talking with these people, exchanging information, LinkedIn's, resumes, interviews, whatever. But deep down inside of you, it's just like, actually, I'm the one who's interviewing you. Are you suitable for me? Am I going to be happy by sharing my gifts and talents with you? Are you ready, willing, and able to respect my gifts and talents and reward me accordingly? Job A. Show me what you got. Okay. Job B. Show me what you got. I'm serious, necessary. You don't have to tell anybody. You don't have to, put that. Don't tell them you got a reading from Tarot Lumination and telling them like, hey, listen, excuse me, I'm the one who's interviewing you. But actually, that's what's going on here, okay? Do you see what I mean? A lot of people, when they go for a job interview, they're like this, like, I hope they pick me. I hope they pick me. Oh, wow. It's the other way around. Get it? I'm pretty sure you do. All right, let's have a look at the situation itself. Okay. So with the Five of Pentacles here, my feeling is like being able to assess the situation, assess the working relationship, assess job A and job B in terms of risk. I think they call it risk mitigation. It's like an equation. So the situation is like, what is the potential for my rewards, my talents, my gifts, my earnings, my abundance, my wealth, my talents to be valued and appreciated and manifested? And at the same time, at what cost? Am I going to have to cripple myself personally, emotionally, psychologically, just to get by? And to collect my dues? Because that's not acceptable. To me, this looks like a big red warning sign. Like a lot of people, they might, take on, like, let's say you're very, very fortunate, necessary truth, where job A and job B they're both very appealing in their own way, but one has, let's say, greater potential financial reward. The question is, like, is it actually worth it? In other words, just to get that extra bit of money in a job that right now appeals almost equally to the other one, is that going to come at the expense of some kind of deep soul personal compromise where eventually you regret it? Okay? See what I'm getting at here? It's a very delicate equation. Like, you are not allowed to cripple yourself in order to benefit your employers. Okay? If you're talking about a job is something where somebody else employs you to do something for them. And in return, they give you money based on the outcome, the good outcome, and the success of your talents and skills. On the other hand, you do not want to be a situation where you're getting screwed or exploited or reamed and seduced by what might appear to be a more rewarding, whatever they call it in that world, compensation package. I know you've heard of those things, okay? Necessary truth. Compensation package. So it's like looking at one of those white-collar Wall Street movies or something where there's a lot of ego, there's a lot of money, there's a lot of power, and for one reason or another, you have been spotted. They recognize your talents and your gifts, and they are allocating a certain amount of financial compensation package to match your gifts. So it's almost like with these retrogrades, you have to be very careful about reading between the lines. Are they presenting something that looks to be a very appealing compensation package, but does that imply that you have to strip yourself to the bone to get that compensation package, where you literally become a beast of burden? No. Not acceptable. What is more acceptable is something where you have more equity, more balance, where you are appreciated and you have a good compensation package, but it is not to the point of depletion where their whole idea is to seduce you and then ream you. The only way I can compare this is to some of the stories I know from one of my dear friends deep in the movie and TV business. She was describing to me how some of her dear friends were recruited by a company called Netflix. And her dear friends were paid extremely well. But the contract came with a catch. And the catch is that basically, while you are working for us, you're basically our slave. You're going to work 24/7, 365, whatever we need from you, however, whenever, wherever, and you'll get well paid. There you go. That's how it's going to work. Most of her friends who signed up for their contract understood that, oh my God, I'm getting reamed, I'm getting paid a lot of money to destroy myself in a matter of 3 to 5 years. So you have to figure out, is it worth it? My dear friend Sue did not choose that path, and I'm very glad that she didn't. On the other hand, you got to have money to live, especially if you're, at the higher income levels. And so employees often do a lot of things to themselves that are ultimately self-destructive in order to get that compensation package, which at first sight is very, very appealing. Okay? So what I'm sensing here from this reading is that it's kind of like all that glitters is not necessarily gold. The real gold is where it might be you feel better and more integrated with a group of people who really appreciate you for the person that you are, as well as the talents and gifts that you can share with the job, company, situation, corporation, whatever. So when it comes to job A versus job B, if job A is all about massive compensation package on the understanding that we, the employers, we are going to strip you to the bone, then so be it. You sign that piece of paper, then that is your outcome. If you're okay with that, necessary truth, then fine. On the other hand, if you actually want to be happy and you kind of want to have a feeling of, a nice fuzzy warm feeling like, wow, I am with the right people at the right place at the right time for the right reason, where you get that sense of family, camaraderie, love, warmth, and affection, that might not necessarily have the same compensation package. Okay? I'm not saying these are facts, but I'm just trying to illustrate the difference between A and B and how different employers treat employees. Okay? All right, let's keep going. So what's the problem here? Okay, so with the Six of Swords, there's definitely a strong feeling like, absolutely, I just want to move on. All I want to do is what works. It's just like, I just want to do what works. The question is, what is it? What is it that actually works? It's almost, to me it feels like, it almost feels like if you personally had your wish, it's almost like you would deliberately downsize your life, your expectations, your overheads, and all the burdens and responsibilities in order just to be happy. Some people actually do that. Some people basically say, enough is enough. I don't need the biggest, fattest paycheck or compensation or annual bonus. if it comes at the expense of my health and happiness. You make a compromise. So with the Six of Swords here, my feeling is that it's like a struggle with what does my future look like? Is my future something more to do with downsizing and perhaps having something simpler and warm and fuzzy where I know I'll be okay and I will have peace of mind, liberty, a sense of lightness, the kind of thing that happens with what they call downsizing. On the other hand, doesn't mean that I'm giving up so much that would happen if I downsized. So it's a very delicate balance. So how are we going to deal with this? I think what John is saying here is that we need a very clear understanding that like your own personal sense of happiness, independence, and well-being at the deepest, fuzziest, warmest level of your heart center does not necessarily equate with how much money you collect every week, every month, every year. In other words, you might be happier collecting less money, but doing something that gives you peace of mind, and you go home at the end of the day, or at the end of your meetings or whatever, and you can get that kind of warm and fuzzy feeling. It is possible. These things are possible, okay? But it's a question of choice. Some people are so motivated by money that they are totally willing to sacrifice their personal happiness, their personal freedom, just to get that money. On the other hand, just to get that money could be one of the most crippling things you could do to yourself. So you have to understand. I think John is not saying pick A, pick B, but right now understand what it means. What's the difference between choosing A and choosing B? Especially if you have the privilege to choose. How are we going to deal with this? Okay, so I've got the Four of Wands here. What to me this makes me feel as though you already know the answer deep inside, necessary truth, but you needed to have it kind of spelled out and described to you in a way that you wouldn't necessarily have come across in your day-to-day life. And so when you come here and you get a little mini reading from Tarot Illumination and you invite John into the equation, what we're doing here is actually bringing a kind of refinement and some clarity and removing fog and confusion and misunderstanding so that you can tune into what you already know. To me, it feels like you already know the answer deep down. Okay, let's say it's a very tight match between A and B, but deep down you know. Okay? And so you make the decision based on what works for you at the level of the heart, where it's just like you could go home at the end of the day feeling like, woohoo, I'm really glad I did that. Yeah, I don't know, maybe I'm not making so much money as I thought I was going to make, but I actually like what I do. It's almost like I'm looking forward to the Christmas party, or I actually like going to work in the morning. I actually like hanging out with the people who work with me, and they like working with me. It's mutually beneficial, okay? Somehow or other necessary, you already know. A or B, B or A. You already know, but you had to get this reading to understand what it really means when you make the decision. And it's very, very hard to put a dollar value on the sense of camaraderie, teamwork, and like that warm and fuzzy feeling that you get. Well, like, wow, shit, I made the right decision. I did the right thing for me. I can wake up in the morning. You don't have, in other words, it's almost like, okay, how can I do this? I'm not John, but John is giving me a kind of very gentle pat on the shoulder, like, yeah, this is exactly what she needed to hear. You needed to know this from this kind of like fine-tuning perspective. So just imagine you sign on for this job, and you know deep down you're going to wake up every morning thinking, great, I got that paycheck, and it might look better on my resume, but deep down my stomach is churning. Okay? And then there's the other job where it's like, I don't know, it's a little bit weird. Maybe the money doesn't quite make sense, but I think I could actually enjoy this. I think they would love to have me, and I would love to be there. You have to have that sense of feeling of teamship and family, and that turns into like the warm and fuzzies. That's really, really valuable. It's hard to put a price tag on that feeling. The story I told you about my friend Sue and her buddies who work for Netflix, they're making serious bank, but they know that they have condemned themselves to a slave camp where they're going to burn out in 2, 3, 5 years, and that's it, they're done. And they make it very clear in the Netflix contract, we are going to work you to the bone. Okay? I already know this because I have insider connections. So I know this. That pathway is not going to work for you. Okay? Necessary truth. The pathway that does work for you is the warm and fuzzies. Like, this is fun. You wake up in the morning almost thinking like, oh, I can't wait to get there. I can't wait to do what I have to do next. I hope that makes sense, okay? Thank you, Necessary Truth. That's your reading. John is not going to tell you what to do. Tarot Illumination is not going to tell you what to do, because the point here is that you already know. Okay? Frittily, you're up next. I don't know if you're here. I can't remember. Sorry, I have hardly seen the chat at all tonight. Frittily, if you're here, great. Hello, Love Triber. Greetings. Good evening. Oh, Frittily. Poor thing. I know you're coming apart at the seams. I know you're blowing fuses everywhere. I heard about it. Poor thing. In some ways, you're kind of lucky because you have like super brain power that allows you to like kind of calculate your way through these things. Like, even though the stress levels are extremely high and you're constantly at the point where your fuses are blowing, you're actually dealing with it. All right, Frittily, you're up. Now remember, Frittily, I don't know the intimate details of your world, and it's better that I don't. But I do know that you're under a tremendous amount of stress, okay? Cheers, everybody. All right, here's the situation. Here's the challenges. Here's how we're going to handle it. Let's have a look at the weather for you. Again, I'm going to refer to the sacred geometry as we are right now at this moment in time. Our power lies in the now. So what about now? What now? What now? What now? What now? So we have the Six of Wands. As you know, for Italy, this is a victory card. This is a winner's card. And in a way, it feels to me like it's really simple. You're in a situation. It is absolutely hideous. From the fragments that I've collected and the bits and pieces of the stories that I've heard about over time, it just sounds awful. Just awful. And yet, there is a loving component to the whole thing, where even though you might not be respected or understood or appreciated, and even though you might be consistently getting screwed over, reamed, betrayed, undermined, undervalued, underappreciated by certain characters in your life, you keep going anyway. So what is that? That's the characteristics of a winner. That's someone who, like, you know what? It's almost like you keep going anyway. Of course, obviously, for Italy, a lot of people in your situation would have given up long ago. They would have done this or that or that or that to completely sever all ties with all the stress that you're dealing with. Which, in theory, you could do. But it might come as a very blunt, painful decision. So you keep going anyway. So you live in this world of compromise where your own energy is constantly being tested and taken to the extremes, to the absolute limits of your ability to cope with these hostile conditions and these hostile people. But what this little Six of Wands is saying is that even though Tarot Lumination has it on very good authority that you're absolutely at your wit's end, blowing fuses to the point of like insanity. You're still in a position where you're dealing with it. And the only people who can do that is winners. Winning might not feel like it's winning right now, okay, for Italy? One of the things about winning, I don't know, give me this, I'm going to go off on a tangent. Give me a second here. One of the things about winning is I'm relating to my youth. When I was a kid, I was very athletic. I was hyper competitive. I was very physical, very active in certain very specialized sports, and I was very, very good at it. And I had the potential to go very high up in those worlds. I didn't go there because the contracts and the agreements involved some very sick, perverted side agreements. And so I essentially sabotaged myself. But deep down I know that in my own way I was a winner, and even today I am a winner. I might not appear to be a winner in the traditional sense, but in some ways I am a winner. and I have succeeded against all odds. I'm not comparing my own stress or tragedies or pain to yours, Fritterly, but I've been through a lot of situations where a lot of people would have just cut themselves off, however they do that. Pill, whatever it is. But I'm here today to tell the tale, okay? So, yeah, things are very painful right now, but I think what this little weather card is all about is just a kind of a reminder, like deep down, really, you're again, it might feel as almost like there's absolutely nothing to back this up or prove it, but you are a winner. Okay? You're not dead yet. Okay? Look at it that way. Okay? I've been in certain situations where, like, the difference between success and failure is literally this or that. A lot of times the success looks like it's a very gradual growth-oriented thing and everything pans out. Success leads to more success and more, and so on and so on. Some people have life paths in that direction. Some people have life path where success is measured in terms of like reaching the point of absolute catastrophe and then surviving beyond that. That too is a measure of success. And that's what I'm seeing here. You may not be getting paid a lot of money to be successful in what you're doing. You may not be acknowledged or appreciated or loved or understood for being successful. But somewhere very, very, very deep down, you are digging to the pit of your soul in order to continue to be successful. And in this way, success is defined by being loving. You know, we talked about that years ago. Be loving, be loved. Love is as love does. Sometimes being loving is extremely painful, very expensive, and with very little sign of any appreciation of reward. And yet you are loving anyway. Okay? That's the kind of extreme that I think we're dealing with here. Okay? What's that? There's a whole lot. Wait a minute. What's this? I'm just going through the notes quickly. Hold on. Okay. Yeah, see, that's vicious. Fritterly, you're dealing with some very vicious energy. And it seems like it's like what's that? Have you ever heard that phrase, the reluctant hero? That's the kind of role that you're in right now. It's just like, I remember, I think it was a Clint Eastwood movie many years ago. I think it was called Betrayed or something. And it dealt with this whole subject matter of human betrayal in very tight family situations where certain people became very vicious towards each other. And there wasn't really any resolution or any way out unless Clint Eastwood came in and played the hero. And so he did what he had to do. And there's no thanks, there's no reward, there's no recognition, there's no understanding, but he did it anyway. And it all worked out okay. And then afterwards, after he was expended, it was just like, well, okay, I just did what I had to do. You know, it's the energy of the reluctant hero. So that's kind of what I'm sensing here. Let me go back. All right, what's the situation itself? Okay, with the Nine of Wands, obviously you're up to your neck in it. But this would also align very closely with the understanding that, this is why you're here. I mean, it doesn't make any sense to you personally in terms of your own personal happiness. Who in their own right mind would choose to incarnate in this lifetime and live the life that you are living right now? I guarantee nobody watching this channel right now would want that. Okay? And yet here you are. You're living this life of extreme stress, betrayal, treachery, lies, deception, where not only are certain people on the receiving end of that energy, you personally are feeling it as well as collateral damage. Okay? And so it's like you're absolutely up to your neck in it with pain, suffering, war. This is like being at, it's like the energy of being at war, where, I don't know if you know a lot about war and warfare, but sometimes wars drag on for years. And then you realize, oh my God, I am still at war. And I have to continue the path of warfare in order to prevail. So that's what's going on here. And it's a very heavy, challenging, painful pathway. But I think one of the things about the Nine of Wands is that you shall prevail. Okay? It's almost like, okay, so maybe you did bring this upon yourself through some kind of, past life or pre-incarnation decision in order to bring justice and whatever it is, to work out your own soul journey. And it means having to go through all this squalid, horrible, filthy, nasty stuff that you're dealing with. But remember, everything is exactly as it should be. And why is that so? How is it so? Because it can't be any other way. So this is your reality. You are a winner by nature. You're very strong by nature. And here's one of the things that happen with people that are very strong and capable. They attract the most painful and challenging situations. You're not going to get off the hook and just like, oh, I can do this. It's not like you just go to school and you get AAA in everything that you do, and you don't have to worry about anything for the rest of your life. No, it's just the opposite. Because you are born with the gifts that you have now been tasked with the incredible challenges that you are facing now. So what's the challenge here exactly? Well, we already know. So, like, if you dig down into it, one of the real problems right now is being stuck between a rock and a hard place. It's like, it doesn't matter what you say or what you do. How you say it, why you say it, when you say it, where you say it, with whom you say it. It's almost like, whatever I do, I'm damned. Whatever anyone else puts to me, I can tell you they're wasting their time, because none of their bullshit is going to go past me. So I'm left in a situation where I have to stand guard. I have to stand by my truth. And if everyone and anyone else can't handle that, that's their problem. And I'm sorry if your life sucks. Okay? But I just have to do what I have to do. And so that could feel like it's very futile. Like, what's the point in even getting involved in these ridiculous, futile situations that cannot be resolved? It's like none of this can be resolved through hostility and argument and conflict. And yet, that's all that exists. So how do you deal with that? So with the Eight of Cups here, my feeling is that it's a very deep, spiritual, gracious surrender to the reality of your situation. And the reality is that it's very difficult. You've got a natural winner, let's say DNA. But the problem with having that degree of skills and intelligence is that you've attracted the worst kind of problems that can only be dealt with by the highest levels of, let's say, commitment, skills, the ability to prevail and win against all odds. So that puts you in a situation of like, it feels like it's just perpetual, unending conflict. Doesn't matter what I say, how I say it. If I try to prove what is right, no one's going to believe me. If they try to prove what is right for them, I guarantee I'm not going to accept it. So you end up in this like futile, self-perpetuating negative feedback loop. So how do you get out of it? In some ways, the way to get out of it is to continue like on your own path where you are already. I know this doesn't make sense, but to me it looks like it's a very spiritual path of complete utter selflessness. Almost to the point where it doesn't matter how much pain I have to carry. My role here is to plant seeds of love. Even though all the seeds of love that I have planted so far today may not be appreciated, they may not ever come into fruition, they may not ever be understood or valued, I have to keep going anyway. So that's what you do. To me it feels like it's a very, I'm going to use shorthand right now. To me it feels like a very Piscean kind of journey where, again, there's no reward, no appreciation, no understanding, no value, no love, no sense of justice, honesty, or truth, or balance, or integrity. Everything just sucks, but you keep going anyway. Because you're coming from the heart. You're coming from the level of deep soul energy. I think one of the only reasons you can handle this, because like I'm seeing from your notes here on the screen, on the chat, okay? The chat is over there on one of the monitors and I'm working with right now. The thing is that you have a very clear understanding of what's going on for Italy. And the problem is it's an understanding that this is really screwed up. It's seriously, seriously screwed up. Now, if you were not aware of that, you wouldn't be able to handle it, and you would continuously and perpetually be sucked into pain and suffering, lies, deception, and unending misery. But because you have an understanding of it, intellectually, it allows you to, let's say, I would say, live through this with compassion, with a heart. I know you're at this point where you're literally, fuses are blowing and you are enraged because it is so unjust. None of this makes any sense. There's no reason to it. It doesn't have to be that painful or that bad. And yet this is how things are. So you have to deal with it. And so you're dealing with it by being extremely gracious and very, I would say, spiritual in your approach. And yeah, you can take it personally, and you will feel it personally on a consistent basis. But in the end, your strength dominates and prevails over all of this. It's a very tough pathway. Very, very tough. You're dealing with it in a very Tarot Illumination manner of like being loving. Be loving, be loved. You may not ever feel like you're being loved in this lifetime, but you are being loving, okay? Your actions speak for themselves. You're always taking into consideration the other people, the other party, like your mom and so on. Even though it's berserk, all the dynamics are like berserk. It doesn't make any sense, but you're still coming at it from a very loving, almost like a selfless way, almost like it's like a spiritual journey pathway for you. And you don't, even though you feel it in your body as if it's personal, I think at the spiritual level you know that you are above all of this. It's just kind of a curse to have to deal with it and live with it in three-dimensional, in the moment, in the now, in this lifetime right now. Okay? It's really tough. I hope this reading helped you frittily. Alright? I'm going to follow up with you later. That's the end. I don't see any more readings here going on. So whoever wanted the readings, I think it was, who were they now? There are some names I remember. Please come again, visit another time. One of them was, what is her name? Phoenix. Hello, Phoenix. Another one was Atlanta, Georgia. Another one was Bella Malvegia. And there was somebody else as well. Who was that? Radha. And no, actually, there was another one from, I think, from Pakistan. What's way at the beginning of the show? I'm scrolling through the chat right now. Pallavi Sharma. So, all of you that I mentioned just now, thank you for showing up. I wish we could do a reading for you, maybe some other time. I understand money is really tight for a lot of people. So, you know, it doesn't make sense for you to donate or buy a reading right now. I get it. Don't worry about it. We'll just keep going. So please, if you feel you want to, come back another time and we'll get you a reading sorted out, okay? Alright, that's pretty much it. I'm not going to go on much longer because we've been doing readings all night except for a couple of minutes for that music. And we all have lives to live. I'm going to wrap it up really quickly here. Thank you all for coming. Thank you for your kindness, your generosity. Thank you for the PayPals. Thank you for the Super Chat. Thank you for showing up and listening and participating. It means a lot to me. It's like this is a really important part of my life, my Sunday night show. I wish I could offer more. Right now, this is it. Who knows what's going to happen down the road? I don't really know. Okay? Let me just look over here. Yeah. Thank you. Okay, I'm going to go back over here. I hope these readings help you guys. Literally, it's energy in, energy out. We ask for the healing power of love to fill our bodies, our minds, our hearts, our souls from up above. When that is done, then you own that energy. And then it's up to you. What do you do with that? You now are the owner. You are the custodian of the healing power of love. Love is a very valuable energy field. So what are you going to do with that? Love is as love does. And love is expressed most effectively through action. Words are nice, and let's say intentions can be very enticing, but what really counts is the now, the moment and now. Be loving, be loved. Being loving and being loved in the moment, right now. Not before, not after, not contingent. And always remembering, number one, love thyself. You don't want to do anything that ultimately turns into something that is self-destructive. Only you can determine or fully understand what this means. Be loving, be loved. Sometimes being loving comes with a profound sense of resentment and bitterness and regret. But you act in loving ways anyway. Does that make sense? I'll leave that with you, okay? So Fritterly, I'm going to follow up with you, all right? I'm going to pick up something here.